Hello, 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 hello. Hi. What's up, peeps? Live today for some LEC best of threes. We've got MDK, Karmine Corp. I'm also quickly going to do something that should help the stream a little bit. Just need to unplug something and then pull that plug in thing up here so that we're actually Gucci. That goes back in there. And then you easily insert into there. Just need you to click in, please. If it would. It's not clicking in, which is not a good sign. Clip in. I'll do. It's in. Says it's in. I will accept it being in. Just clear my feet area so I actually have some room. I've got like 20 cables now into my setup so that I can stream. But yeah, today we've got KC and also MDK in a pretty nice best of three. This happened over the weekend. It wasn't a Tuesday game, and it wasn't a Monday game, because Monday it was G2 Fnatic, which was an interesting one, to say the least. But yeah, today we'll be heading into KC at... It would help if it was locked onto the right thing. Let me just, there. Don't know, it was picking up my other window, which has... Well, it should be closed, that window. So I'm just going to move that off of there, over to there. There you go. And let me just see, can you see my pen? Of course you can. So we're going into KC MDK. I'm going to be looking over that way, because that's where I've got my big screen now to watch this. So let's go. KC on blue, MDK on red. What can draft look like? Because these two teams like to prioritize certain things. KC, they've been prioritizing actually a lot of Sejuani for closer, so banning out the Talia and the brand makes a lot of sense. AP junglers, all the range right now. Zyra, another powerful option in that jungle that's AP. Madlions banning out the Rumble, and Maokai, so another AP jungler. It's a lot of these AP options. Yeah, it's just AP junglers being removed from the pool, and usually that spells AP mids and AD jungles. But obviously, with us living in a double or triple ADC meta, some teams will preface the ADs still. And yeah, Karmine Corp's one of them. Tristana coming in to the lineup to go presumably into Vladdy's hands. A solid pick overall for them. KC side of things, I would expect them to continue forward with the engage options. MDK have options. Zari, Rel is a good option, but that typically gets let through to ban phase 2. So here on the drafts, typically is where Rel comes through. But yeah, I think Rel is very powerful, especially alongside a lot of these picks. Now, typically speaking, if Rel comes through, you expect the Targamas Alistar. That's something he tends to go for. And this draft coming through from KC right now is very interesting. Obviously, double ADCs across the board. Sedge Vi, obviously Sedge getting picked up on Mad side, so you kind of have to go down the totem pole of available junglers. Vi obviously offers a lot of engage. She is the natural counter to Zeri, with the fact that you have the cease and desist, and it used to be Assault and Battery, but I don't know why they renamed it. Anyway, the cease and desist does so much work in just locking up a Zeri into your queue, and you lock the target down and get the engage. Support's been removed out here by MDK. Rel is up and available, and I think if it doesn't get banned here by KC, it's R4 pick for MDK here. I just see so much power with the Sedge, the Zeri, and the Corki to lock up targets. You've got so much in terms of utility there. And yeah, straight away, response Alistar, I mean, it's the Targamas special. He kind of goes towards this rather than other options like that can play a bit more enchantery, like what's it called? I forget what it's called, but yeah, he tends to go towards that anyway. I'm also going to take a quick pause here because I'm trying to find something. See you in a sec. Something I forgot to do, sound check my actual stream. Aren't I smart? Anyway, yeah. Turn on all chat. I can actually look at chat for once, because I never usually do on my old setup, because it required 2 monitors to be able to see the game on this screen and now chat on this screen, so it's a bit better. Anyway, let's get going. I'm realizing I'm quite loud. There, I'll drop myself down a bit. Hopefully that helps. I'm also sitting quite far back for once. Anyway. Let's just... honestly, sound quite nice. Pretty chill. Yeah, let's go. So, KC have locked in for themselves Renekton in the top lane for Kana. A safe blind pick top. Something they tend to go towards is those safe blind pick tops for Kana. And they've actually got Nautilus into the rel, which it kind of pairs well with the Vi, with the fact that you have single target isolation abilities as well as lockup of the carries. Like, it's a unavoidable stun in most team fights with the Nautilus kit. So you basically will be able to lock down this Zeri and not allow her to pop off. So I do like this coming in from KC, though it is quite, overall, a very low AP damage comp that the Sedge and the Rel will thrive in. Now, the other side of things, we have got a Nico in the top lane, which is just basically another ADC. If you don't know, essentially Nico has a build where she goes full attack speed, attack damage, and is a menace. And it's kind of disappointing that we don't get to see those massive pot blossoms anymore. But hey, it's still very good at locking up a target and just bursting them out, because the consistent auto attacking, obviously the W, I believe, has, or it's her passive, one and two. One of Nico's passives, essentially every 3 autos do an extra bit of damage through the that's magic damage, like a bit more burst. You combine that with a Kraken Slayer, you've got an extensive amount of extra damage coming through each auto attack. So you kind of proc your passive a lot more often than you usually do, and it also allows you to go for what we're actually seeing here, the press the attack build, and just stack up so much extra damage. Now, as the game starts off, just taking a look at the rest of the map in terms of summoners. Conk on the top side map for KC. Fleet Footwork in the ADCs. It's realistically only the Nico, I would say, that's gone for the less survive lane build, more harassing late game build. And that's going to be nice and interesting, as just looking at stats, nothing out the ordinary. Lines of skirmish drawn across the map. I've drawn them lines poorly. No. Okay, so Nico clone dropped there to kind of obviously spot if the blue starts happening for KC. And Merwin's going to find out that no. Basically no real play on the top side map, so KC pathing up towards him. So Merwin probably will try and get an early shove, crash it in back before the gank comes through, and then get back to lane. Whereas in other aspects, what we're looking right now, the bot lane can play a little bit more aggro through the early game as a whole, as well as late game in terms of their scaling effect. Because Zeri Rel, teamfight wise, is stupidly strong. Like, you think about the fact that Zeri will 9 times out of 10 just outscale the opponents, and she typically has that je ne sais quoi of damage that you just don't expect to be coming out that consistent and that fast. Anyway, mid lane, we get to look at Vladdy on this Tristana and Frescowy on a Corki. You don't typically see Frescowy, I think, on this Corki. He's more known for the Azir. The guy likes to play that side of the matchup a lot more than he does the Corki. And you can understand why. It gives you a lot more agency in setting up the team and getting the plays. You're also playing an AP build, which slightly differentiates how you tend to play certain champions. Corki, though, very, very close to being AP carry. Obviously, in the past, known for being an AP carry. The mixed damage build's no longer a thing, as they've tried to shift him more into a ADC role. And oh boy, were they wrong in the fact that he is not being an ADC and he's still a mid lane option. in this day and age. Anyway, we already spoke about how the fact that Closer would have a path up to the top side because of the fact that Merwin, that's the name of what he's got, spotted out early. The Vi didn't start topside. And yeah, Elio's gonna come up here, probably clear out this ward. They were aware of it. They put the marker down. And yeah, this is the power of the Nico early. Just the aggressive trades, getting to hold lane. Plus, when we think about supports, I always talk about range versus melee matchups in the support role. This is more so one of them, but it affects the top lane as a good buffer there by Alvaro to avoid the route from the Nautilus. And yeah, because of the fact Closer's showing bottom side, push is going to come through from KC down there. Just get the extra aggression down and force MDK onto tower. Pretty standard. Now, as it stands, not really any advantage gained by either team. I like this play from MDK. Force the crash on this wave. Get a reset off pretty nice, pretty easy. We are sitting with Drake on the table. So the potential play of securing first Drake is there for MDK. In fact, just looking at Alvaro's position, setting up vision for it. But it doesn't help that Elioya's topside map. In fact, both Closer and Elioya topside. First Void Grub spawning probably will spell teamfight or just go for Drake. Elioya has cut off the rotate from KC, which is going to force Closer off these grubs. Obviously, Closer has secured one, so it's going to be a 2-to-1 split on the first set. As flash out from Targamas to get to safety. Summon a burn. I actually think that's a worthwhile burn. Because it's gonna force... well, it forced the grubs to reset. And it wastes more time out of MDK. In the sense that Elioya's forced to clear this camp a little bit longer. Which allows for Closer to get down to the bottom side of the map. He realizes his bot lane is taking a reset, so when they come back out, he can come over here, force a play alongside his bot laner. Especially now that Drake's been started. It's just really well worked, I think, although you really don't want to be burning summoners off your support early and almost giving it over first blood. But it works out. However, Alvaro stepping around could contest this. And he's actually doing the yeah, he's very much so doing the Targamas thing of just denying the jungler from really doing anything. And because Closer had to queue to secure the Drake, it meant he was kind of stuck in that pit for a little bit longer, as basically Rel would just stop his retreat. Corki was hovering over, so yeah, the potential for a MDK kill was there. So Closer kind of had to play it safe and wait an extra few seconds before continuing his clear. Now, I'm just going to take a little look at items. It looks like I always, when I see this item in Zari's inventory, think that it's going in towards opportunity. But opportunity isn't as powerful as it once was. And lethality Zeri has never really been a thing. It's been more so the IE hit everything sort of build, but I'm pretty sure this is static Shiv Zeri. As we're seeing topside, Renekton just being constantly bullied off the wave. A 20 CS lead over the Crocodile has been built up. Obviously, Renekton can't really step up into the CC that Nico offers, and because Nico does already quite a bit of magic damage in the Qs early, it just is a little bit harder for him to step up into lane. Now, I didn't actually see what abilities Merwin has leveled up, because it normally you have to wait a few seconds to see that. But because we're right now looking at Nautilus, or I am, you guys can't actually see it. Nautilus 3-1-1 in terms of abilities. Now, at this stage of the game, there's not a lot going on. And in fact, supports have left lane, junglers are kind of just hovering around. And it's because of the fact that objectives are still down for another 40 seconds. So when grubs are back up, you'll probably see the teams pathing up there. MDK is securing vision at his bot side, which is actually quite smart. Actually, no, we're not getting to see Nico, but that's a lot of damage down. Can we pan over to Nico, please? That's the Zeri. I just want to see what abilities she's leveled up. Anywho, we haven't discussed mid lane, but there hasn't really been much to discuss here. It's the fact that essentially it's just a farm matchup, early levels. Past level 6, Corki with the rockets does a little bit more work than the Trist, who has to wait for the explosive charge every single time to get a proper quick clear. The Q obviously helps the Trist clear, but again, Corki's kit more designed for deleting or doing AoE damage, so will clear the minions a lot quicker than what a Tristana can do. Interestingly enough, MDK will secure 5 grubs, and that is quite big because it helps them into the latter game with these triple ADCs. The siege potential coming out from them is pretty good, as typically speaking, AD damage dealers do a lot more to towers and will realistically clear them a lot quicker. Now, surprisingly, we haven't actually seen a kill come through just yet in this game, and the reason I say that's surprising is because of the champions on the map. The Sedge and Vi typically are quite good ganking junglers, paired alongside engage heavy supports. You'd normally expect a lane gank by now. Sadly, one hasn't come, and instead it's been mainly jockeying around objectives as the Drake becomes the focus of Karmine Corp. They will secure this Cloud Drake for themselves. Hexal, I believe, is what we're playing for, so the Hex Gates are actually going to open up. That's actually quite nice overall, I think, for both teams in terms of their siege. MDK obviously having the slightly better sieges. Targus going to be caught out, being ran down, forced to flash away. The Glacial Prism comes through, but he ults in response. The Zeri somehow gets deleted as she goes too far. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but the continuation comes through, and Karmine Corp get 2 as the Rel and the Zeri overstep their welcome. On the other side of things, looking at how it's playing out, Merwin and Frescowi gonna actually benefit quite a bit from the investment Karmine Corp did there to get 2 kills. Maybe a possibility of another, but Merwin playing with respect, so we watch this play again. Initially it looks like they've caught Targa. He flashes and pulls in all of MDK into this choke. The Zeri's just so far in that she just isolates herself in 4 members of Karmine Corp, and it's pretty easy for her to just, well, it's pretty easy for KC to clean up the fight, and Kaiser getting 2 kills. The early Kraken Slayer for a lot of people. In fact, the Trist and the Kaiser running Kraken Slayer. This is the Trinity 4 Static Shiv. Now, we are going to see first tower secured by MDK, which is quite interesting, all things considered, as I just get more comfy. And it plays into the style that we discussed a few minutes ago, the siege of MDK. Simply put, as a good buffer on the Buster shot there by Vladdy to get to safety. But it plays really well for MDK right now, as you wouldn't necessarily think of them as the sieging team, especially with the Kaiser Tristana combo on Karmine Corp, as Glozer shows his face top. But because of the fact that MDK already slain 2 outer towers, looking to continue to press the advantage for this tier 1 in mid, it's actually going to make this Rift Herald usage really hard for KC. Now, unless they just drop it now, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt they will, because obviously Drake is available in a minute 45. They'll probably save the I till then. But yeah, typically speaking, you just look at how this is playing out. You're seeing gold leads across the board from MDK, while down in kills, a 3k gold lead, which has come kind of out of nowhere for them because of the fact that they've just been able to siege, get quite a lot of tower plating. That is probably one of the big bonuses that MDK have gotten. And KC just aren't able to do much against it. Merwin just does so much damage now that he has his Bork. Like, if that grasping root landed, he probably would have killed him. So, we continue to push forward. 30 seconds until the Hex Drake spawns. Soul point. If Karmine Corp secure it, I don't expect them to go for it though, all things considered, as Targamas gonna be jumped up, stunned in place. MDK actually investing quite a bit. The Sedgel down. They don't really get much out of KC, as Vladdy joins up with his team with the TP. That's about it, but Herald's dropped mid. The Drake is available, and KC starting to get river control. MDK, as a 5-man squad, gonna roll into this bottom side of the map, and they have garnered control back of the river. The Drake pit secured and started up by MDK. KC stepping forward, kind of getting quite close to this Rel, trying to keep her from getting into the backline. But the Drake is going to be the main focus of MDK as the secure comes through. Sejuani gonna stop the soul point for Karmine Corp and get the first Drake on the board for MDK. That's just gonna actually rub salt in the wounds of KC, who, let's be honest, are doing quite well. While down gold due to turrets, they still have a better comp, I feel, for bursting out a carry. We saw it already when Zeri died. The isolation of that carry just caused a massive deletion from the Rift. And KC will more than likely be looking to continue to get more. Alvaro forced to crash down, but look at how much damage has been put down onto this Rel. It won't really surmount to much, as obviously Baron only just spawning, but big things coming through on either side. And Alvaro still quite low, stepping forward yet again. Targamas being hit up here by the Sedge as a crash down comes through. Alvaro goes in, but here comes the Pop Blossom. Merwin uses the ult and it's going to secure absolutely nothing as Upset's free firing into this fight. He's already got himself a double kill onto the bot lane of MDK, and why not make it one more as down goes the Sejuani. Closer secures the kill, and with the jungler down and the bot lane of MDK, Baron seems like a reasonable prize for the Karmine Corp. Two items on these ADCs right now really does spell go time, as the Rage Blade Kraken Slayer combination coming out from Upset gets him up to 4-0-0. As we watch this fight again, it's weird. MDK already have a chunked out support, just deciding to engage. A lovely depth charge there by Targamas as the Rel crashes down. Kind of knocks up the members of MDK around her. And that really does allow for these picks and these continual rundowns from KC to happen, because they deny the initial engage. They've already chunked out the Rel before the fight even began, so there wasn't really an angle for MDK to execute there. That, as a result, has given over Baron to KC, and as well as a gold lead to the French squad, who are now going to be able to start cracking these outer towers. Now, while that's happening, Merwin going to continue his little bit of a siege, get down towards the tier 2 on the bot side. He is being forced away right now by Targamas and Kana. Targamas invests his hook there to find out it's clone, but look how many members of KC are down the spot side. They're grouping up as a team. It's a full 5-man squad down here, looking to get this last outer. Targamas going forward, gets the crash down out from Alvaro, and MDK forced to retreat. The power of the blue wall just too much right now, as we're sitting a minute away from this next Drake. Soul point to KC yet again if they are able to secure it, and the second Drake for MDK if they're the ones to get the big objective. Now, personally speaking, these two teams are getting to the point of the game where they just want to fight. Support, or more specifically Alvaro, has his Warmog, so he can now step up and do that sort of play that we just saw, because he would have healed up his health bar due to how long he waited. But now, with the Warmogs, the extra health, no real resistance bar the steel toe caps, but hey, it doesn't really matter as Targamas goes in. He's going to knock up Alvaro, deny the Rel engage. Pop Blossom going to be forced out as Kana gets jumped on and deleted. He still stays alive as Vladdy's the one to secure the kill. Upset still free firing as he killer instincts into the backline. Merwin trying to trade back, but he does not do enough damage. It's the ADCs of KC that come online and shut down MDK. And that's going to give them sole point. And a massive teamfight win as MDK's teamfight is just crumbling to pieces. We know MDK is a teamfighting squad, but this game, they've not really been able to execute. And it's been Targamas engaging on the front foot for KC that's causing these plays. He denies Darrell any form of engage, and as Darrell gets kind of forced to make a engage onto Kana, she's unable to lock up any of the backline carries. So it's just free firing City as MDK's carries get deleted because Upset can continue to fight. Vladdy getting very aggressive on this Tristana, able to free fire into these fights as well. He's been quiet most of this game, and he has been quiet most of this split, but he's certainly stepping up as a player and is starting to feel a lot more like an LEC mid compared to Seiken at the start of the year. Seiken kind of fumbled a lot of the bag, to be honest, and I don't like really talking about failures of players in their LEC career because it's not really just. Seiken compared to Vladdy is like two different stories. Yes, KC have brought in two literal regional champions to bolster their lineup, but I look back at the Rogue games coming out from KC. It was Vladdy on the Azir carrying his team to victory and destroying Rogue. I look at this game so far, and while it's been mostly the upsets show, Vladdy has been consistently performing and just keeping even, if not ahead of his counterpart. Once he's been able to free fire into teamfights, he's been getting kills for the team and is certainly having an impact comparative to this Corki that Frescowi's on. As 001, he's kind of been forced out of fights early and isn't really able to poke and harass with them rockets. Because you even look right now, look at how MDK are playing. 3 split there, 2 split up here to defend tower. It's a very broken up team, and they're not really playing their comp well. You usually want to have the Corki stick around and probably have Zeri sent up to the tower to clear wave, but Corki stays there to land the poke. The engage comes through from Targamas, he's isolated, but look at what KC are doing. They got onto the backline and Merwin's already partially deleted. Vi goes onto the backside and gets the Corki. Down goes Frescowi, and he is deleted from the rift. It's a kill over to Vladdy as he kills his counterpart. Pot Blossom's going to come through, and that's going to allow Kana to be killed off. But Vladdy is still free firing. He secures himself a double kill as Upset gets himself one. Closer, looking to dive the tower, but he doesn't need to, as KC are on the victory march. 4 members alive versus the 2 of MDK. Merwin healing up on the fountain. 2v4 needs to happen for MDK to stay alive in this game. And it looks like KC are gonna let them rather than MDK defend it. KC realize they're playing with an advantage. Play it safe. Use the gold that you just ascertained to buy up some items. That looks like a fully completed build off the back of that fight for Vladdy, as he's on to 3.5 items. We look at this fight and it's instantly Upset. He killer instinct straight on top of Nico, not allowing her to teamfight. And while Nico's a good ADC if she gets to auto, she's very close range, and it just means that she can't really teamfight if she's caught out. Anyway, hi Frescowi. The cease and desist gets on the backline, and Upset is legendary. He continues to fight as MDK are just being deleted by KC, and they're going to continue forward. It's a kill over to MDK as Merwin secures it, but it doesn't really matter. All of KC are collapsing down onto this Nico, who's probably going to get out, actually. Force a TP. No stun there, but it's unnecessary as Upset continues to stay legendary. And now all that remains is this big boar to defend the base. But KC in two minds, realizing respawn timers are just short enough for MDK to come back to life and defend the base. Instead, they take the safe route, secure Soul, secure Baron, and that should probably spell the victory march for this Karmine Corp squad. Baron goes over, and yeah, completed items across the board, looking pretty nice here for KC. Is just looking at Vladdy's build, he's an executioner with all them items. As here, simply put, closer, cease and desist onto the Corki and secures the kill. That's it. It gives the killer instinct angle for Upset to get in and do the damage. And yeah, continuation of the chase as Zeri gets thwarted by KC. And now the base push is going to come through from Karmine Corp. Last couple of inhibitor towers to secure for themselves. They're focusing the bot side first, as Merwin's already pushed out top, but the base is being cracked open as no real defense is being mounted by MDK to keep that bottom side inhibitor alive. KC, though, playing it safe as they continue to back away, and the the Kaiser burst coming through, doing a lot of work as into the backline she goes. Pot Blossom's going to come through, but it gets absolutely nothing as the status comes out from Upset, and Vladdy just gets to free fire in as this Kaiser buys so much room for her team. It's an absolute bloodbath with 3 kills going over to KC, and the Nexus towers also going to come through. The continuation of the bloodlust coming through from KC as they look to get more, but in the end they play it safe and secure themselves win in game number 1. Dominance. Gonna say it. MDK all over the place. They couldn't really fight or ascertain angles to go to get the picks, to get the kills in fights, as they get 1 kill onto Targamas, but 2 have already gone over to MDK, to KC. It just was really hard for this MDK squad to secure any sort of advantage in that game, and they got punished. Now, what I will say is, as the water goes down the wrong hole, jeez. What I will say is, MDK did try to play through their advantage later into the game. Tried to play sides and split and siege with Merwin, but it was too late at that point. There's no real angle for it, and KC continued to storm into the base and secure the win. Simple as you like. Moving to game 2, and hopefully we see some differences in draft. But playoffs has kind of been the story of ADCs. It's been a very heavy priority for the mid lane, and for bot laners. Tops are also getting involved on it. Anyway, draft 2, seeing some changes already to the draft as Vi gets removed from the board here by MDK. That typically spells to me that they want to first pick Zeri. But KC might respond with the ban. They're actually going to ban the Tristana, which does, I think, put more prio onto that Zeri pick overall. And unless MDK drop the brand ban here, I think they probably will drop the brand ban. Because either they secure Zeri in a trade for brand, or brand gets secured by MDK and you get the Zeri. It's an overall better rotation of picks, and it forces MDK into this awkward situation where either they get the strong jungler who has a fast clear, or they get their preferred ADC. They go for the ADC, get Super some comfort, that maybe it gets flexed. I highly doubt it though. Super's more likely going to be playing Zeri rather than anything else, because he isn't really playing anything else, I should say. He's more the hyper carry, hyper scaling player in comparison to Fresskowy. Now KC, I'm intrigued. This is actually quite surprising that they've prioritized the Sejuani over the brand. And the reason I say that's interesting is because Closer is very relatively known for being a carry orientated jungler. So the fact that they haven't gone for a carry for him and have more prioritized tank engage frontline does allow for a more utility slash carry jungler in Alioya to just snap up the brand and get some form of AP damage into this MDK squad lineup. Something that they realistically were lacking in game 1. To be fair, both teams were. But because KC yet again have this Kaiser, they're not as worried about the AP. And the drafts have just kind of flipped up on their head. No longer are we caring about AD mid laners. The Azir comes through and Corki gets removed. AD mids are like shrinking like flies. And I mean, you look at it, unless you go Zeri mid, Ashe bot, or MF bot, as a whole, MDK's lineup is going to be very punished due to the fact that they've gone brand early. Now, what I do think is the Rel pick can be very influential paired alongside the brand. You think how the Pyroclasm works, you combine that with the Magnet Storm, you've got a lot of people pulled together into an AoE bounce house. And yeah, it should be a lot of damage from this MDK lineup. I'm thinking here, you draft tank tops or bulkier mid lane picks, because your damage is realistically the brand Zeri. You can teamfight and win with that comp. I would much rather see some tankier options coming in from MDK here. Lucian being hovered, but it's going to be the Yone for Fresskowy. Something I wouldn't typically associate with him. He does play the more long-range pokey picks rather than frontline ADC champs. It's an interesting comp from Mad. The decision, I don't like it, to be honest, their draft. It's a very G2-esque comp. Low amount of tanks if we look back at the Fnatic series that G2 just played. very little in terms of frontline, and more so ADCs and just carry orientated picks. You can't win games just off of carries. You need some form of frontline. The Rel isn't good enough on her own. So how they're gonna really interact in this matchup is very, very hard for them. I feel that the TF as a whole, as a pick, just isn't the option. I get that it's comfort. I get that Merwin is known for carries and these more unorthodox picks, but this is an Ornn slamming angle more than anything. A frontline option for the team is what I would go for rather than a TF here. As we already saw in game 1, the split push style didn't work. MDK got grubs. They got 5. It didn't result in a win. They got early towers, but they fumbled the team fight. And why did they fumble the team fight? It's because their carries couldn't stay alive because they had no real frontline. That's why I think that this draft coming in from MDK sucks. I think that it's weak comparative to what they actually need. And as such, game 2 seems pretty easy for KC, who we haven't really discussed their comp. Let's look at it. Sedge, Rakan, frontline. You've got then this Camille that can handle the TF, honestly, in size pretty nicely. Or the Yone. I think that Camille probably is the weakest angle of the team, but it's still a pick that matches well into MDK. So, not really much more we can do in terms of complaining right now. Wait till we get later into the game. Just taking a look at the summoners. It feels so odd seeing Dark Harvest in Pro. So used to it just as an ARAM only kind of ruin, but it's still very strong on brand. Getting the extra damage down from the stacks that you build up is so nice. What I will say is brand gonna be kind of wanting to get going early in terms of these kills, because once the Warmogs and resistances get picked up for this Sejuani, I don't know if Rakan will go Warmogs. I'm not a big Rakan connoisseur. I know he more so goes for the team protective items, so the likes of Locket and maybe Redemption, but in this current meta, he might go for Warmogs, and it would just make it so much harder for MDK actually to do too much against this KC lineup. Now, the Rel is stepping forward, but this is the issue. Cleanse is going to be burnt as Upset's ticking quite low. But yeah, the issue with this lineup for MDK, once the Rel burns her Crash Down and her Q, what lockup do you have? You realistically are relying on the brand passive Q, where you have fire down on a champion and then land your Q to stun him. You've got Gold Card, and then you've got the Yone ult to secure and lock down targets. But realistically speaking, you look right here. Upset's fine, because there isn't enough CC down here just yet to get the kill secure. Brand's very reliant, don't forget, on landing abilities for him to have really any real mass effect in teamfights and the game. So, with it being this like state of just trying to secure early gold. I think these two teams will probably feel a lot more safer to just sit back and just farm. Sure, we've just saw a massive skirmish in the bot lane where Upset's burnt both summoners. A similar story can be said out from Super, who all he has is his cleanse. He still burnt his flash. So, as a whole, both ADCs quite susceptible right now. So that's why I kind of think we'll just see a more stagnant kind of stage of the game where no one's really looking to push to get kills. Now, does that mean we won't see any kills? Probably not. I think that compared to game 1, there's probably more chance of a play happening. As if you're Elyoya, you kind of want to get going early. Something he was known for in winter was his early game. Him and Razork were very early game orientated in terms of the junglers. And I remember literally in winter in playoffs, we covered the Fnatic MDK series and how both junglers kind of roam the map. Now here, we're probably going to see Elyoya setting up for a play. It is being responded to well here by Closer, realizing the possibility of a play can come through. As a Camille ult is going to be used, the brand pillar of fire gets dropped down, and that forces KC back. So whether or not you class this as a good interaction from KC, as that's a lovely Empress Divide, the escape from Yone could come through as he gets a nice heal buff from his fleet footwork. MDK not able to get, well, they're not able to get a kill on the top side, but they do keep their mid laner alive, and that gives them time as well as the angle to secure these Void Grubs. 2 already gonna go over, make it 3 to Elyoya, and KC kind of come out losing from that play more than anything. They try to force mid and get what? Yone, so they don't really gain anything from there. They aren't going to be able to stall out really any play towards this Drake. There's Alvaro and Targamas just gonna clash heads in the river. But hey, I'm interested to see what this Zeri buys on back. Never mind. That's going to be the massive ulti from the Zeri. Almost kills off Targamas, but not able to do so just yet. It will put this Rakan quite low. Elyoya and Fresskowy are pathing towards the bot lane. Fresskowy kind of cancelled it, went back to mid, but there was still the angle there to make a play towards this Drake. Still is. Fresskowy gets push. I'm actually surprised this ward here is being spotted, because it has the vision as Upset getting aggressive super, already quite low. Killer Instinct just puts a lot of damage down onto the Zeri, and that's going to result in pretty much just force back out from super. And this is something we like to see from Upset. If you didn't watch yesterday's series, he was playing very aggressive on Kaiser. And you kind of see it in his style. He likes his champion. Because you have a lot of poke, very good at harassing, as well as the fact that you just have a lot of damage and access to the backline freely. Now, Kana is quite, well, almost dead. I was about to say quite dead, but then I realized Closer and Targamas hovering topside, so there wasn't really a threat on him. And yeah, MDK and KC are just being chilling. Kind of like me right now. I've put my legs up as we're getting to just the slow part of the game. Drake's on the board if teams want it, but Void Mites will take priority, especially if you're MDK. You're already sitting on 3. Now, what I will say is, it's going to be quite hard for MDK to get over Kiana to secure it, even though they are bringing Alvaro up here. Closer, just hovering. He realizes the potential play for Void Mites is there. Rel stepping forward, gonna crash down, land a lot of damage down as the Sejuani just gonna be stunned to death. First blood over to MDK. It's unfortunate Alvaro secures it, but hey, it's still a kill, and it's a very big one because the jungler is down. That should be Grubbies to MDK. Elioya gonna start this one up. I wonder if he'll go for the double secure in one go. He won't be able to get it. He will secure 5. KC not going to stick around for the 6th. So all 6 grubs go over to MDK. That's going to mean that if they are able to start sieging and playing late game the way they intended to in game 1, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, as Merwin just gets deleted by Kana. This Camille very strong, as that's going to be the Everfrost going to root up Brand. Continuation of the play is 3 members of KC show up topside, and Kana and Closer thrive in that fight. So much secured by this KC squad. I think it's initially just Camille stacking up this Everfrost stacks. A good flash there by Closer to close the distance. Once Targamas shows up, there's no escape for Alvaro. And 3 kills over to KC. And while they gave over 6 grubs, this is certainly worthwhile for them. 3 kills to 1. Keeps the gold relatively even. It is over 1k, but it's pretty close. Advantage is currently sitting in that bot lane to KC, but you think about it, Targamas has been kinda roaming quite a bit, trying to keep out MDK from their jungle, basically. So he's kind of fallen to the wayside. Especially because also First Blood was secured by MDK's support. So that doesn't help them. Targamas is actually going to catch out Alvaro here. The crouch down too late and too little as Vladdy just slides and glides for the kill. A little early there on the smite, but it doesn't really matter for Elioya. He secures his buff as KC just step up. They've claimed the bottom side map. Should give Upset some free time on this tower to maybe get a bit of damage, but unable to. 30 seconds until Herald. supports pathing up here. Merwin on this top side. Try and get a bit more of a push for his team. Will be forced to clear out his wave. But yeah, MDK bringing the members top probably will mean that they get Herald. Though, there is a high probability that it doesn't happen. And to be honest, looking at the positioning of Closer, not really wanting to contest this, he is instead looking bot side for a potential pick onto Friscowie. But yeah, I don't really think there'll be too much to gain here. Solemn Bound clicks back to place for the Yone, who is the only member behind his counterpart in this game. If you're MDK, kind of worrying as 2 members of their team caught up under tower. The slide and glide is going to allow for Vladdy to secure the kill, as on the bottom side of it, Closer stays alive through the tower dive, tanking it up, allowing for Karna's TP to get himself a kill. It's 2 for nothing in the initial play, but MDK are getting quite a lot out of it. You realize TF going to have a lot of damage down onto this tier 1 top side. Herald's drop mid to secure first tower for... Actually, it's not even first tower. Secure the mid lane tower for MDK. And you know... I'm tired. But we've watched this fight. It's a really well executed tower dive. So Targamas... Initially, I would have thought tanked it up, but it's actually Closer who takes initial aggro. The Sedge obviously having a lot more health. Just does so much in terms of tankiness. Means that unable to get really much. Pyroclasm's going to be dropped top, bot lane. Get Canna to tank up some damage. I'm in need of some energy. So yeah. Let's take a look at how items are looking. Malignance, I believe. Second item, all the Blackfire Torch for the brand second. Because he's already got Leandri's, the burn from that. Ow, my socks caught. There we go. But yeah, the extra burn damage you get from the brands will be so surreal. I'm, believe it or not, an aficionado in brand support, and it is very strong, as that's a crash down coming through, and they've caught out Vladdy. Merwin's going to secure the kill as a good pick there from MDK. Going to allow them to translate up to this tier 2 top if they want to do so. Collapse could be potentially coming, which does force KC. They're going to walk straight into this. The crash down comes through, but the damage is there to secure Targamas. Upset gives over a Dark Harvest stack as well. KC a little bit edgy here in game number 2. It's MDK finding the kills, but it is only just enough to put them only 3 kills up, whereas KC have 6, so they're ahead. But the gold lead says different. I don't know where I'm going with this analysis. But yeah, Drake spawning. Or it's been alive for a while, I think. Ocean Drake, Tech Drake, already secured by KC. Second Drake coming through. I'm probably thinking it's going to be Cloud Soul. or Mountain, because they're the typical follow-ups. Anything else is a blessing. It's Mountain. Okay, so more terrain for this Camille to hookshot off. That's actually quite nice. Anyway, Alvaro, just going to secure vision on this topside map, and so many members of MDK hovering for this here too. Kind of going to deny the crash down, but it doesn't really matter. He's forced to ult and kill off the rel is MDK. Get deleted. KC looking to get a little bit more, but look at Counter's health bar. That health pot keeping him alive just barely. He's in single digits. Sorry, double digit health there. But wow, MDK, unfortunate there not to get anything for themselves. But they have kind of been hovering this topside map for a while now. So they realistically need to get something. Otherwise, they've kind of just stalled out. Now looking at the rest of the map, Super going to secure mid lane push. In fact, MDK are invading into KC's jungle. Blue buff going to be pulled out of the pit. And Kanna's going to realise members of MDK were hovering. Baron has been given vision over to KC. So they're well aware of any Baron takes coming through from the MDK. And this is the fun thing, or the interesting thing about the state of the game. Because MDK have got this tower here, it's really hard for KC to step forward. And the darkness being set up by MDK, it's going to force immediate action. TP flank's going to come through as the initial engage is going to secure Elyoya. KC get the kill. Into the backline goes Kana as he drops the ultimate down, but he will not fall as it's a double kill over to Upset. Jesus Christ, didn't expect him to get two. And with Baron on the table, MDK falter when it matters most. What I was starting to say about MDK's vision, they had set up, I should say, a pretty deep vision line to deny entry into this jungle. You already see it here, but it's a good ulti from closer. He catches Elyoya isolated, killer instinct almost immediately from Upset, and it means that MDK just get deleted where they stand. Kana also put in a very good TP there, a good flank, securing the second kill as the Hexag ultimatum. Just channeled it and locked in place the carries. It just made it hard for MDK to do anything. And now they're on the back foot for a little bit. The good thing for them is they've got good wave clear. KC are going to struggle to ascertain a push. Upset, once again getting quite fat, I should say. Comparative to Super, who as a whole really has had quite a quiet series. Not really been able to do much. As, to be honest, he hasn't really had a front line to protect him. And MDK are being punished because of it. They're trying to control vision areas or vision traps, but because they haven't got someone who can frontline and protect the carries who are setting up these traps, KC just feel pretty fine stepping forward and going for them. And especially now, considering the gold shift, finally from it being an MDK kind of dominant sieging game, it's turned into this more team fighting, KC favored style and flavor of matchup, which is kind of the story of game number one if you think about it. MDK securing early objectives around the map, and then just absolutely dominating, well, getting punished in sides. As kill could come through here. It's going to be a pick onto Kana, who is going to be rooted in place, but look at the shield he gets from its passive, keeping him alive. And now MDK are going to be scattered across the map. Zeri isolated and deleted from the rift. Aoyori going to be trapped on the wrong side of the map as Rakan just going to force him out. On the other side of things, Yori is able to secure himself a kill as Vladdy gets punished. Didn't actually see that one happen, but hey, doesn't really matter. All you need to know is MDK get themselves their second Drake, and they kind of thwart the Baron push in the end. So the fight initially is really good for MDK. They pick off Kana and take him low and kind of force him out the fight. But Upset collapses so goddamn quick alongside the Rakan. It's easy for them to punish and pick off Super. On the other side of things, because Vladdy came in a little late, he gets punished off and killed. So yeah, MDK kind of, I think, win that fight, considering they took Upset out, not Upset's, Kana out pretty early, and then were able to pick off the mid laner. So yeah, there's that. So as we continue forward, game in a state of kind of evenness once more, as there is only about 1.5k difference between these two teams. And, you know, it does matter. It is meaningful goal, but it's also a very good, like, indicator of what these two teams are kind of aiming to do. The fact that it's this close. MDK have been trying to siege. We've said it, but they're starting to transition that style into fighting, as both teams have kind of evened out the kills. I say even out the kills. MDK, because they got early gold, have got kind of even with KC in terms of how the eco has come out, as Merwin's going to be caught out here as Closer goes in. Crashdown going to keep him away, but already Upset's killed off Brand. Vladdy is showing up here as Frescowi is able to get a self-kill on this Yone, but it's a little too late, as that is 3 members down on MDK, and it's always as Baron's spawning they tend to lose the fights. They're looking for a pick here. Targamas isolated, gonna catch out Super Merwin, but they get out alive. KC not willing to chase, and it will probably be just them picking up this Baron. Brand is alive once more. It depends how quick he can get back onto the map. MDK closing in. Destiny Gate used. Merwin's back in the fight. 3 members of MDK are here, but it doesn't really matter. Baron secured by KC. A massive slide and glide gives the kill over to Upset, as down goes the Zeri, down goes the Brand. Bye bye MDK. Your base is now in the sights of the Karmine Corp blue wall. This game, it's very, very similar to game 1 in terms of the look and the feel. Completely different draft, but the same result. KC lose out realistically in the early game, get punished, but then turn it up late game, winning one pivotal fight leading to a Baron, and that from there leads to winning the game. KC win the series 2-0. And MDK need to step up. Season finals, next time we're going to see them. And it was, to be honest, not the best of showings, especially against a squad like KC, who have struggled all year. I'm going to be honest, KC, it was very much the upset kind of show. Vladdy performed well. In fact, both carries really performed well. But I'm going to be honest, it's drafts at the moment that are kind of letting teams down, especially in Europe. You think about it. G2 against Fnatic. The draft coming out from G2. Too many cooks, to be honest. I don't like how many people are picking up ADCs. It doesn't help. And it's leaving you susceptible to just being killed. Now, this game kind of was a good indicator of how it feels. Early lead for the triple ADC comps that ends up being punished because I haven't got frontline when the game gets later. Oh, I've been talking a lot. But yeah, what I will say is KC certainly performed well. I like their comps. I just think if they do make season finals, which is absolutely insane and a massive issue with the LEC in terms of formatting, it needs to be said that, in my opinion, just think of it this way. I want to be purely blunt here about the LEC format, and I've not enjoyed it for the past 2 years. This year is slightly worse. Simply put, the winner of the summer split automatically goes to Worlds, which kind of defeats the point of season finals if one of the spots is already gone. Makes no sense. It also devalues even more the spring and winter split. They mean nothing. The other side of it, KC, if they win the LEC summer split, will go to Worlds. And that's off the back of 2 10th place finishes, mustering 4 wins in those 2 splits, to then rehauling their mostly entire roster, except the bot lane, with basically spending shitloads of money to win. It defeats the point of development in a roster, and I don't like it. You're kind of just throwing money at a problem. It's insane that you think Yamato had 1 split on the team, then got fired. 1 split, and then gone. Whereas the players that were the issue got 2. Makes no sense. You can't really drive a thing. A coach's mindset needs multiple splits at least for an understanding of how they want to play the game and how to win. That's the issue I have, and I'm not saying I'm a Karmine Corp hater. I'm more of a LEC format hater rather than anything along the lines of I hate KC. It's just the fact that sometimes the solution isn't the best one. And yeah, that's something that KC have taken. Regardless, win the LECs on the split, they go to Worlds. They need to win against BDS, which in 2 days' time, it's happening on Friday. I have tomorrow to record the predictions and get that up. To be fair, I can only... Actually, no. I can't predict any more games other than the one on Friday. Let's just make sure that I'm right about that. Yeah, well, I can't really make a video, but G2 versus either BDS KC and Fnatic versus presumably G2 will be on my X. I'll be doing that at izlogic.business. But let's do BDS KC as my prediction right now. BDS in the last series looks susceptible to loss. Very close to doing so on a couple occasions, if it weren't for the fact that ice popped off. Jackie's very unlucky, by the way. Side note, I'd like to see Giant X in season finals over KC, but that's a different story, by the by. Reason I think that, they're the more consistent team of the year. Anyway, let's predict BDS KC. I hate to say it, KC 2-1. It's best of 5. KC 3-2. 4-5 games. It's one of them series that just emanates closeness. I think Nuke's been underperforming during the previous 2 series, and teams have kind of figured out to beat BDS, you just punish Nuke. That's how it's been. You don't really care about what Adam does now. He's kind of been relegated to just water. He isn't that useful, but is needed in order to play the game. Regardless, I think that it'll be a close series. Upset's been certainly overperforming. So is Vladdy. So I think that we're getting a nice 3-2 to KC. With that, I'm going to round it out here. Thank you very much for joining me. Leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new around here if you want to. And I'll see you guys next time. Don't know what I'm drawing. Looks like the Pringles man. Peace out.